Hello and welcome to the Exaltify Me podcast. I'm your host, Nenad Leonart, and I am thrilled to have you here with another episode going deep and just diving into whatever makes us tick, how we're built as humans, how our brains, our minds function, and how we can all use that knowledge to actually improve our quality of life. I am dedicated to the human being for, I think, as long as I can remember. I've always been the person to peer into other people's lives, like see what's going on there, see what doesn't work, what they maybe could improve. And you guessed it, it's not the most nice thing to do for other people. So I kind of had to learn over the years, right, when to use my knowledge, when to use my X-ray vision, and when to not use it. I remember distinctly also having some fun with it, right? I could always see at things if they are true or not, if something is working out or isn't. And they used to call me the lie detector. You know, we used to play like this games whenever we would travel along with friends from school and so on. So I would be the lie detector, and they would just be telling me stories, like some things that are true, some stuff that are they have been making up on the spot, and I would just actually be sitting there and saying, okay, that's true and that's false, and it's a miraculous thing if you can do that as a child. So I had a lot of fun with it. Well, let's move on to today's topic, which actually today's topic is all about conditioning, and this is something that I really want to put some emphasis on. Conditioning is something that we are all not nearly enough aware of as we should be. And it's affecting all of us. It's because of the nature of conditioning. It's because of the nature of basically life itself, right? How we work as animals, how we work as mammals, as humans, what makes us tick, like what motivates us, and so on. And when we look at today's society, it's crazy. It's actually really crazy how much of the society is being just weird. Really weird. Like if you look at the behavior, it's not logical, but it's also not necessarily emotional in a way that, well, these people are guided by certain emotions, so they're doing this stuff. No, it's much more complicated. And there often, when we take the magnifying glass and look at a situation, we will see so many different aspects, right? We will see the logical and the emotional, but we will also see like cultural aspects. We will see the situation, like where people are coming from, what their motivation might be from different angles. It might be around survival, it might be around power, it might be around sexuality, and so on. So you get like these extremely complicated concoctions. And just to realize how conditioning works and why it works, I think back in the day, like thousands of years ago, leaders who were smart and who understood, okay, I need to have these people under control, right? Because if everybody's plotting against everybody else and people go crazy, people want to punch each other, this is not going to work out well. So what am I going to do? And I think that these leaders figured out that when we start to give people certain values, when we start to give people certain ideas that they could believe, something that they could hang on to, and also to, let's say, reward certain behavior while punish certain other behaviors, we could mold the kind of societal flux that was going on there. And this is, I think, I'm not 100% sure on that, because there's many different kinds of conditioning and how you can actually condition people. But I think that the conditioning arose so that we can live together as a species, as a society, without killing each other, right? without just jumping at each other's throats. And, like my neighbor is really, really getting on my nerves. So I don't want to just go out there and do whatever. But we want to, behave in a civilized manner. And I think that's the main point of conditioning, right? To hold society together so we can be an actual all right civilization, and we can go and sleep at night and don't feel awful about the things that we do, but we say, oh yeah, I'm a good citizen. I'm doing whatever is required of me. All fine and good, right? Sounds like a great thing to have conditioning around. Up until the point where we actually start to try and live our life, right? Whenever you have tried to, let's say, be more authentic, be more true to yourself, whatever you want, wherever you want to go, like be it on vacation or maybe just to take another direction in life, there's so many voices inside of you, but also outside of you that are all going, no, you shouldn't do that. You should go this different direction. You should take this into consideration. Are you crazy? No, that's a stupid idea. No. See, this. And that's actually when social conditioning starts to really dig its claws into your life. Like whenever you get this inner authentic voice that says like, I want to do this, chances are that a lot of conditioning voices inside of you are just going, no, and just pressing it down, right? Just kind of really, really, really pressing it down. So many people I work with, I can tell that they are just holding on to these. They kind of have hopes and dreams, but they're so much conditioned that they cannot do anything with them because they will never, ever get out of their shell. And that's my job, kind of to go and talk to them and see how they feel inside so they can actually start to let go of piece by piece of all the conditioning that has been accumulated over the years. Now, what is conditioning actually doing? It is, again, keeping us in check so we can function as a society. And whenever something that we want as an individual gets into conflict with, let's say, whatever society wants or whatever our parents would have wanted for us, or maybe our siblings, right? It's usually the nearest family and the parents that have the most influence on us, how we get conditioned. But it's also school, and it's also friends from school, and it's also our peers, it's our colleagues from work. It's like basically everyone. Okay, whatever we consume every day, that is how we get conditioned. And this is actually how it works, right? I've mentioned there are a couple different ways that you can get conditioned, and we'll look into that. We'll look into that, how exactly it's happening. But for me, the most important part before we go any further is to realize if we do not learn to decondition, if we do not learn to think for ourselves and just keep on in the same pattern over and over and over and over again, we are going to have a bad time. Reason being that it's basically silencing everything that is important to us. It is just being inflexible. It's trying to keep things in place. And as I've said, whenever you want to do something for yourself, whenever you want to do something that will bring you more quality of life, that will make you shine, that will actually help you to achieve your dreams or overcome something in your life that seems unsurmountable. Let's say you want to just reignite the flame and the passion in your relationship. Or maybe you just are thinking for a long time about this career change, that you know you would be happier in this other profession or this other job, but you just are unable to do it because of. And then there's reasons and rationalizations and so many things that you can just pile onto yourself. So what actually matters and what actually is the guiding force of life in yourself just gets quenched out and just can't talk anymore. And so what we get from that, we get a lot of burnouts, we get a lot of depression, we get a lot of people who are just generally unhappy with their life, people who don't even know what's wrong, like they feel in their bones something's wrong. And I get to talk to them every day. And they just feel that something has been taken out of their life and it doesn't feel like their life anymore. They want to reclaim that power. They want to reclaim their life, but it's just not that easy. And this is where you want to start to decondition. Because when you start deconditioning, you kind of see the matrix, you know? If you have ever watched The Matrix, then you know that there's the blue pill and the red pill, right? So what's the red pill? It's the truth. And you take the red pill and you cannot make it unseen. So you start to actually see the conditioning. And that's the crazy part. This is how we battle, quote unquote, conditioning, right? We battle it by awareness. The more awareness we have, the more actual consciousness there is in every situation of what's going on. How are things coming together? The more we have that, the less the power of conditioning is residing in ourselves. So the more that you can see the patterns of, oh, this is happening, and I'm having this behavior because of this and this, and okay, I'm restraining myself, and it doesn't even make sense because nobody's going to have any damage because of me not going, I don't know, to my favorite place to have my favorite piece of cake, but I'm still restraining myself because of, I don't know, maybe my mom told me when I was 4 years old that I was a little bit chubby, and then I have this conditioning of you are not supposed to go and eat cake whenever you want, right? So I will always be trying to restrain myself in the moments where I would like to have a wonderful juicy piece of cake, but then there's the part of me that goes like, nah, you shouldn't, right? You shouldn't. Now, I'm not advocating to go out and have a juicy piece of cake unless you want to. The point is this, it's about quality of life. It's about doing whatever you want to do without having the restraint of some invisible force pulling you back. And that's the most evil kind of conditioning, and that is also when it's the most strong and the most effective. It's when you don't notice it, when it's invisible, when you are conditioned, but you don't even know that you are conditioned. That's the crazy part. And what you want to do is just piece by piece start to understand, how can I actually be conditioned throughout everyday life? How is this still ongoing, the process? Because you have the conditioning that's happened in the past, right? But also there's the conditioning continuously going on. And one of them is just like taking on all the different information and the knowledge and the beliefs of the people around us. So we're getting conditioned by the media, we're getting conditioned by whatever we read, by whatever we listen to. Hell, you're being conditioned by me right now. Okay? That's a sort of conditioning. Because that's really taking in these beliefs and making your neurons fire in a certain way when you are thinking about certain things. So probably whenever you come and listen back to this podcast, you get to be in a certain state, or you get to have a certain feeling. And this is also conditioning you, because one of the things is like the neurons, the more they are firing, like the more you're practicing that kind of behavior. And if you have neurons firing together, like if you look at this video or if you're listening to the podcast and you hear my voice, and there's maybe, again, certain emotions, certain state, certain beliefs that you associate with it, and so you're conditioning yourself into those, which is, again, it is normal. We cannot get out of this life on this material plane, you cannot do it in a different way. However, what you can do is really bring a lot of awareness into this and really try to understand, okay, what is going on? What am I associating with this kind of thing? Is it liberating me to do whatever is helping free my inner voice, helping me to live a better life? Or is it constraining me? Is it taking away quality of life? Is it doing things that I deep inside feel are not really, really meant to be done to me? And that's how you get sensitive. That's how you start to go from moment to moment to feel, okay, what is going on here? What is going on here? Now, I will share a personal story. And this has been also something that I've discovered quite recently. So obviously the theme of conditioning, as I've said, it affects us all, and it affects us on so many levels, because there's so many different levels in conditioning. Conditioning we have with other people, like with our colleagues, conditionings that we have in terms of how we work, how we live, and so on. And what I have noticed is that I have a conditioning, or I have had the conditioning. I mean, I'm still having it, but I've had it in the past from early childhood, where I had two parents, right? And both of them expected different things of me, and they saw different things in me. So obviously, as a child, I want to please both parents. I want mommy to be happy with me, and I want daddy to be happy with me. So what I'm trying to do is juggling these two expectations in between me and trying to help them project as many of the things that they wanted to see inside me, depending on whoever I was with. And then when both were there, right, then my brain would just kind of fry. No, but it's been kind of a tough challenge for a child. And I know for a fact that I'm not the only one that had different parents with different expectations. And kind of just trying to meet these expectations can be a wonderfully impossible task that is going to destroy so many beautiful moments. However, now that I'm grown up and I'm not living with my parents anymore for a long time, this does not mean that this mechanism isn't still active. And I still have that. And I still have that, like, depending on what projects I'm doing. Maybe I'm doing two different projects at the same time that demand different things of me. And then I am going to try to please one project and the people involved there, right? But then there's this other project that I also am going and trying to please. And then when they're happening at the same time, again, the brain kind of goes fried. And this is what I've noticed in my case. Oh my God, there's conditioning of how I grew up, right? This is how I started thinking. This is how I felt like, oh, the world works in this way. This is how things are, right? And going back to the invisibility of conditioning, right? That's the point where it's finished, where it's done. When we go, this is how the world is. This is how things are. We cannot do anything about it. That's when the conditioning is done. Like when it's completed and you have no chance to look behind it. So how can you bring in awareness into this, right? So there's 3 steps, obviously. The first step, I think, is the easiest and most hardest one to do, because you're doing it alone. And it's just self-reflection and journaling, right? I mean, journaling is self-reflection. Self-reflection is best done through journaling, because you just kind of start writing down what is going on, how this is affecting me, how this is affecting, or how I am getting affected by the things that are happening in my life. And then, there goes the brain. I'm trying to look for patterns. Are there patterns that are repeating themselves over and over and over again? And you know the saying, like, people that are always in some kind of drama, or people that are always late, or people that always forget things, or people that, like there's always like this one thing that is happening to everybody over and over again. And that is just because, well, you guessed it, it's a pattern. And the pattern is there because of some things that are put in place that are provoking this pattern to happen again and again and again and again. And just because we're blind to the stuff that is provoking that pattern doesn't mean that we are not responsible for the pattern happening. In fact, I would argue that most people are really responsible for most, if not all, the things in their life that happen to them, just because of these patterns. And I mean, yes, it's an extreme sentence, but then again, it should be a little bit thought-provoking, right? Let's just say it a little bit extreme, so next time it happens to you, you go like, I'm probably responsible for this. Ugh. And then you can take responsibility and you can start changing stuff. So step 1, again, is self-reflection, journaling. Many coaches, many teachers, everybody recommend going and journaling every day. Me personally, I much rather go for walks, like you can also see me walking right now, because I noticed, again, I deconditioned myself from writing all the time, although writing is good and I think it works for many, many people. And I've done it also in a very long time. But again, I've noticed that my brain works best when I move. So for me, best time for self-reflection, it's walks out in nature and just letting my mind ramble on and do different kinds of combinations, see what happened, what could have happened, if there's any patterns, and so on. So that works for me. And when you start doing this, you will also maybe start noticing what works for you. And that's also part of the deconditioning process. Don't do what I tell you to do. Do whatever feels best for you. And not because you've trained it all your life or maybe some other people told you to, but because it's actually the thing that you are supposed to do. That can be, by the way, quite liberating when you find out what your strengths and weaknesses are, how your body thrives, how your body is made to work, to prosper, right? And just follow that. Just follow whatever is natural to you. So step 1, self-reflection, journaling, be it by hand or be it just writing a couple reminders, maybe on your phone, or even dictating, or whatever, however it works for you. Step 1. Step 2 is to get and work with a coach on that. Now, why am I saying that? Because obviously I'm a coach and I want you to become my customer. So that's what every coach says. No, but actually I've been coaching and getting coached for the last, I think, 4 years straight. So there has been no exception. Before that, I was in my studies. I was getting mentored like every week for 10 years. And before that, I was in school. So yeah, there is a pattern of that, of course. The great thing about coaching is that you don't have somebody that is telling you whatever you want to do or whatever you should do. The great thing about coaching is that you have somebody that is enabling you to fulfill your potential. So like, again, looking at the number one, what I said, it's about self-reflection and it's about looking what works for you. But you have a person who is sitting outside and professionally trained to spot the patterns that are kind of, making your life miserable. So all that blind spots that you don't see, all that conditioning that is invisible, let's say you work with someone that is trained to spot these things, that can save you months and years of pain, because these people can just ask you a couple really well-placed questions and you are back on track and you know what's going on. And I mean, it's been wonderful. Like every couple months, I go through what am I going through right now? What are the major themes in my life? And who is the person that I want to go and talk to that is going to help me with this? So I actually go proactively out and seek knowledge and seek energies of people who are much more further down the line than I am, or that I know that they have solved a similar kind of problem, or that I know and that I can trust that they can spot whatever's going on in me, and then they can reflect it back to me without judgment, without imposing, without any expectation of, or if I should now solve it or not. And I think it's the most wonderful thing there is. So step number 2 would be the same as step number 1, which is basically self-reflection, but then kind of supercharge it by working together with a professional that is going to spot everything that you tell them. They're going to look at it and they're going to reflect it back to you with a couple well-placed questions. Again, coaching is not mentoring. Coaching is not telling you what to do. Coaching is just helping you get more awareness and getting more out of your life, out of your potential, out of your energy, out of everything. So it's kind of a little bit helping you direct yourself. Attention, there's a lot of coaches out there, and I've seen these people, and I try to stay away as much as I can from there, because they are not really coaching. They're just using the terms coaching to project their values onto other people. They are using it to make a quick buck. They are using, but have no like real foundation in this type of work. But they just tell you whatever they think you should be doing. And then it becomes like kind of this, kind of a teaching thing, like you get a life coach and then they tell you what to do, which will supposedly make you happy, but never works. That's not at all what I mean. I really mean like coaching in a professional setting where you go, where you have a request, where you have a problem, where you have an issue that you want to look at, and then you go at it with solution-focused thinking, with structured methods, and with pattern recognition, and people reflecting back to you whatever is the thing that you want to solve. And the third step, and this is not for, let's say, the lighthearted, but the ones that want to go into it like crazy fast, and that is constellation work. So you know that we have talked about constellation work on this podcast, and I have been seeing that it's not really for everybody. Like, there are people that will go into constellation work and they will make extreme progress in a very short period of time. And then there's people who go into constellation work and it just doesn't feel right for them. Okay, so here's what it's about. Constellation work is basically working with other people, but then you have like your subconscious mind and it opens up And so other people go into resonance with your subconscious mind. So you can basically communicate with your subconscious, but it's not like in a hypnosis setting or anything like that. But you can actually interact with whatever's going on inside. And this is really, really crazy to explain like this, because nobody that has ever done it can really understand it, okay? I know this, I'm at a loss for words. You can call it some kind of mystical experience. You can just call it, well, it's morphic resonance. There is a scientist that is trying to prove its existence and how that thing works. But again, we know not nearly enough that we can say this is a really, truly, completely scientifically founded evidence. And yet I'm doing it for quite a while. I mean, now over 2 years in constellation work, and I can tell that this is by far the most effective, most cutting through all bullshit method that I have ever seen. I just recently talked to a psychotherapist. I don't know if I've mentioned that. He has been doing the course with me, and he said, like, this is crazy. I need like 30 or 40 settings with my clients so we can go deeper, 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 deeper until we arrive at the actual cause. And with constellation work, you just cut straight line, you go down there and you look at it, and then you can work at directly that thing. So it's kind of cutting out all the crap. Okay, if you are a person that is sensitive, that you can like feel, oh, that's quite emotional, right? If you are sensitive to emotions, if you're sensitive to other people, to their thoughts, to their feelings, and if you like truth, if you don't care for bullshitting, and if you want to really look at the cause, then step number 3 might be the right step, or maybe even the step number 1, like constellation work. And looking at that, I mean, constellation work is, again, just one of the most amazing things that I have done, most deep things that I have done in my life, and I'm still continuing to do it. So I highly encourage you to go and try that out if that is something that you're interested in. And if that is something that you're interested in, I have an offer where you can just come for one session and just look at whatever's going on. It's you get a coupon so you can actually look and feel and participate, even if you want to just get a feel for it, if this is really for you. And there's 100% money back guarantee. So if you say like, oh my God, that's nothing for me, then no questions asked, you get your money back. So it's a coupon. It's not a regular price. You get to come and look at it just to have that feeling. And if you dislike it, you get that money back. So again, no questions asked. You just write me. But only thing that I'm asking is that you stay from beginning till the end and actually experience and see firsthand how that change is happening and how that change is affecting people, and how it's not the same person that goes outside of that session that came into it. It's unbelievable how much integration happens, how much wonderful release takes place. That all the expectations and the conditioning and the weight that they have been carrying with themselves for all the years, they can just let go in one single session and reintegrate. And they can even put it in context. It's not just that it's magically disappearing, but they actually know this is what is going on with me, right? This is what has shaped me. This is how I've been living my life. You know, the personal thing that I told you about me trying to please both my parents, and then how it manifests and reinstates it in today's life, where I try and mix different projects together, and then well, guess where I found that out, right? So having said all that, remember, 1, reflection and journaling in whatever shape or form that fits for you. Step 2 is get another person to help you, a professional person that is going to help you look at the stuff and help you recognize patterns. That's so important to just start getting your life on track and start to understand this is what's happening. And so often we're just stuck. We are just stuck and we don't know how to go on. So a fresh perspective from the outside can resolve so many problems. And then when you're really fed up and you want to cut the crap and you want to go to the core, go and try out constellation work, because I mean, you're just going to be amazed. Hit me up either way. You can find my contact details below. You can find the web page, and we are meeting weekly for constellation work. So whenever you're ready, whenever you just want to see what's going on there, go and give me a message. Having said all that, conditioning is something that is affecting us all. Conditioning is something that is really, really going to be a challenge our whole lives. I don't think that there will come a point where somebody's going to be condition free, although you can be quite free of all these suppressing feelings that you have. And yet, it's a never-ending story. Society pushes, we push back, and this is the play of life. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. I hope you have a great time. I will see you in the next episode. And until then, take care.